Hello, welcome everybody. This is Advanced Research and Innovation stream of the SNOMED CT Expo 2024. My name is Alejandro Lopez Osornio, and I'm a Senior Implementation Specialist at SNOMED International. I will be moderating today's session. All questions will be answered at the conclusion of the presentation. Online attendees, please use the Q&A button in Zoom to type your question to the presenter. And on-site attendees, please use the microphone provided in the room so everyone can hear in the Zoom call. I'm now pleased to introduce Frank Geier from BfArM, Germany, who will be presenting Making Use of Existing Resources, a proposal for a pragmatic approach to resource-saving translation of SNOMED CT. Frank, please go ahead.
Thank you, Alejandro. And good morning. Thank you everyone for coming. I'm happy to see you all. I'm Frank. I think most of you know me, but people who will stream and watch this later. My name is Frank Geier. I cannot see the... Now I can see it. There's my name. I'm working in Germany for the National Release Center. If you don't know what a National Release Center is, it is basically the link between SNOMED International and the member country, and is responsible for the content, licensing, and so on. I will today talk about making use of existing resources in translation. So we were in Germany very interested because of basically a lack in resources, which every NRC can really talk about, to make use of the existing resources that we have. And what this will be, you will learn in a few moments. So first of all, where is the NRC situated? It is at BfArM, which is the Federal Institute for Drugs and Medical Devices. It is an institute in the portfolio of the Ministry of Health in Germany. And actually, it is a regulatory agency for medicinal products and medical devices. So the second part, and the newer part, I would say, is its responsibilities in e-health activities. Is this fine with the mic? Thank you. And we do especially deploy code systems, such as the WHO code systems, SNOMED, LOING, ORFA codes, and so on. So this is quite an important thing for us, that this is all under one roof. And the second big thing is what comes then with secondary data. It's the health data lab that is also situated in our institute. I will give you a brief overview of what this presentation is and is really not. So what is within reference range, if you have to say it nerdily in SNOMED CT language? It should be a helpful guide for finding ways, appropriate ways for your translation project. And you might have a mature translation in your country, you might have not, but it really should be somewhat of a start or maybe an add-on. Then it should assist in defining what resources you have. You might have thought about what it is, but I give you like a few, I will sketch it out with a slide. And it should really also be a proposal to SNOMED International to strengthening the translation community in SNOMED CT. Maybe taking these proposals we're bringing today and putting them on the implementation portal or whatever we can find together as a solution. Because translation is really a super important topic. We have a lot of very good discussions in translation user group. Like every country that is a non-English speaking country really is concerned with this topic. So yeah, we would be very interested to go a step further with you. And what is outside reference range? It is not the solution of all solutions, as you can see. Okay, let's start with resources. I found this little guy SNOMED International likes to work with, and he, in that case, has a lot of things to do. But what do you need in these large translation projects? You, of course, need translators. You do need domain experts and project managers. You need time, money, communication, success, so on. So there is a lot of things like really going into the question of what is a resource, what do you have in your country. I will not cover these. This is just to sketch out a bit what you have to think about. But I will now propose like these 7 modules we experienced in the last years as being a national release center in Germany. This is really our experience that we made. And I will propose these just as a starting point to talk and think about using existing resources. I will talk about them in an order where at the beginning they are more familiar maybe with you, and you all maybe can rely on it and use them, to more of experimental ways of thinking about resource saving translations. So let's start with a non-brainer, I would say. The non-brainer is called automated pre-translations. I think we all have done it. I think it's quite useful. I learned that it's not always possible due to the tools and the platforms that we have. So in Germany, it's actually quite good because we use DeepL, which is a German company, and there's a lot of data basically from German to English and vice versa. In this picture, you can see our translation tool that we are using. We are using TermSpace, and there DeepL is integrated as a CAT, a computer assisted translation. So if you have this task you'd like to translate, you just have to click a button, Run CAT, and it gives you all the translations from the synonyms that are existing. There's also a possibility to do a batch translation, to upload them or do this in the tool. And this works really well. It helps us very much finding the correct translations, and it's really a way to be a bit faster with translation. There might be ways to make it better, actually. There are in DeepL ways for a glossary. There could be a translation memory, but this is not the case at the moment. We cannot integrate it into our in this tool right now. But let's see what the future brings. You should always check like literal translations if you do this, and you should check if these are really usable. So in German, Ösophagogastroduodenoskopie, is it really used? Or is it too long? Can you express it in another way? But yeah, I would rather focus now on other modules, because this one you already know. The next one, I would say, it's also a non-brainer, because engagement of domain experts is quite important, since SNOMED CT is this like huge terminology with so many different parts. We, especially yesterday, talked about in Translation User Group, there's really nobody in the world who really can answer all of these translation questions, because you do have always a specific speciality, being a clinical terminologist or being a domain expert for nursing whatsoever. It is quite hard to know it all. So choosing people for specific projects that know more about what they are doing, it's really important. So I will present you a little project that we were doing. This is a project, also other NRCs were actually doing it. So we used a group of nursing experts from a variety of organizations, and also from Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. These people came from university, they came from research, from software developers, and so on. So we had a good variety of backgrounds. And we were translating or reviewing pre-translated translations with them. So we used the other module we had before, the automated pre-translation, and used it here. and we did also use another module I will come to in a moment. We used like an official mapping. But in this project, due to all these discussions we had, we came to a very good and mature translation of our nursing concepts. And so far, everyone is quite happy with it. And we found, of course, a lot of issues in translating also these concepts. What we did here and what we did also in another project, we used an existing official mapping that is provided by SNOMED International. In that case, it was ICMP to SNOMED CT. There are also others as MEDRA or Orphanet to SNOMED CT. And this is really the third big and I think really important module we'd like to propose today. Just using existing translations that you have from other code systems, if you do have the IP, of course. In this case, we worked with Orphanet SNOMED CT mapping, and what you really need is a translation of this code system, and you need the official mapping, and then bring it all together, and you can use the translation in SNOMED CT. In Germany, in German Orphanet, in the offer code translation, there was a bit of a problem, or we do still face this issue of having permutations. So there are like these semicolons and weird ways in that way how these translations are done. We would not use this in due to our editorial guidelines. But we said we do have a quick win with the 6,517 translations, and they are correct, like they're content-wise correct. So let's take them and we clean them up in the next years. What you really also should use is just a one-to-one mapping. If otherwise, you would have like a lot of disaster. Coming to the next module, and this we really stressed out since we became a member of SNOMED CT. In every presentation we did in Germany with our stakeholders, with people who worked before with SNOMED CT, we said, please, if you have done any project before with SNOMED CT and you translated it, it would be great if you could donate these translations. They might not apply with our editorial guidelines, but they're at least a starting point in like strengthening also a community in Germany, and really using these resources there are. We had the luck that one project was contacting us right before they started to translate. It was a startup working with ophthalmology for their own EHR for a private hospital. And this was really a good start because we could meet with them and explain what we need in translation. So they translated these concepts, always sending us a bit, and we could say, hey, this is great, or you should like look at this or that. Of course, after a while, you find out that you have new guidelines and you have to revise all these translations. But in this case, we got like 15,000 translations for 7,000 concepts, which was also really great. And a really good cooperation, really. What you should also always do, I don't know if this is a thing in Germany, but you should have a legal framework for these translations. It's good to know where these are coming from, and yes. So next module, and we're getting now in the way of more experimental things, and this is with great cooperation with Guillermo. Thank you very much. This module is called Comparative Analysis with Automated Translations. And this is something we have to like find out more how it really works and how we can use it. But in that case, we tried to translate qualifier values, and we did know that they are not like as medical as other content. So we translated them with DeepL from English to German, but also looked at other languages, so Swedish and Dutch, and translated them with DeepL into German. And we're looking for like pitfalls or disjunct translations, really looking if there's anything we should think about. Since we are not putting content in our translation that is only translated with DeepL, we have to find a way really to clean this up and do quality assurance. So that's we have to think about yet. But I think this was a very nice proposal by Guillermo, and it really helped us think about new ways. So now there are two other small modules. They are not quite evolved, but there were a lot of discussions with the Latin RefSet integration. This is more an international approach. We thought, like little group of people, and also translation user group, thought about there are Latin descriptions in SNOMED CT that you can use in quite a lot of languages. And if these were somehow like taken out, or you have a ref set, or you know the description IDs, anybody could use them or put them into their translation project, either just copying them or somehow, I don't know. There was the discussion about a Latin language tag, but I think there has to be more discussion about this. But I really enjoyed that this is an approach we all had together, and everybody could use it who was using Latin descriptions. And the last but not least, also more of an experimental thing we did, was taking local code systems. Or here we took the German procedure classification, which is quite granular, which is quite complicated. And I think in a lot of other countries, it's quite the same. So in this case, we translated the OPS, it's called. We translated with DeepL into English, and then did a mapping with Snap to SNOMED to SNOMED CT. And again, bringing these German translations or German descriptions to in our translation. Here we have to be very careful, but they really don't apply to the rules. So you really have to check if this is its own ref set, or if you really want to use these translations. But we thought this could be also a way to be further explored. And basically, I'm coming now to the end. You can see these modules again. They should really be a starting point to discuss it. And I think what is very important, as you can see, is tooling or tools. We used DeepL. We used a good translation tool. We did use Snap to SNOMED. So these are very important things. We're not trying to translate anymore in an Excel spreadsheet, looking through every translation. We need good tools to be smart, to streamline translation projects. And yeah, I'm happy to answer questions if you have any. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, Frank will now take questions. As a reminder, if you're in the room, please use the microphone to ask a question. We'll see. Ule, where do we have the microphone? Oh, Peter has the microphone. Hi, Peter. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, Frank, for a great presentation. These are really important perspectives on doing translation, also valid for other countries. one main point I think here is reusing existing resources, work that has already been done, which is not easy because it's scattered around. So I have a question regarding that. You mentioned you're reusing ICNP, Medra, OrphanNet. You did not mention ICD. Is that because of not one-to-one map? Okay, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
We did try, of course, to do it, but it doesn't make sense because it's not a one-to-one mapping.
Yeah, but still, it could be useful. Well, at least a Norwegian experience, but not as some kind of reference or yeah.
That's true. It could be good because what we did, or when we started translating clinical findings and disorders, we always, of course, look into what we do have. That's the German modification of ICD-10, and we try to reuse translations or descriptions. But as I said before, it's always depending on what you want to use in SNOMED CT, and is it really okay? This is a big discussion also in German translation group. Is it okay that you have a lot of synonyms, and when the synonyms are not quite okay with the guidelines?
Could I have a follow-up? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Two questions. I mean, you mentioned there's the legal framework. What do you mean by that? That's the first question. And the second one is reusing so many different sources. Is there a tool that you integrate them, or are they still in spreadsheets? So you have to integrate it manually or one by one into the tool. Yeah. Thank you.
So legal framework, I mean, just like a contract really between organizations, between in that case the NRC and the donators or whoever you are working with. We also had to do it with ICN and INSAM, just to be sure that that it's okay that we use their translation, because at the end these are their translations. And of course, you also should contact SNOMED International when you're doing these legal frameworks, these contracts. And your other question was about tooling. Sure, we do have spreadsheets because there are templates to upload it into the tool, but at the end we're all managing it in the tool, in the translation tool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yeah. David.
Thank you, Frank, for an interesting presentation. Question, which of the resources you mentioned would you advise to improve the quality of existing translations? Because I think here the starting point is to generate translations, because there's a lot of them lacking. What if you're in the situation of already having a lot of translations and you want to improve the quality or apply corrections? What would be pertinent or relevant sources in that use case?
Well, good question. Did not think about that, but I would say it is the engagement of domain experts. I think if you have already done a lot of translations, either domain experts or using people who know your guidelines to go through your translations and try to make it better, to find consistencies or find even like lags that you have in your translation. But I have to think about if there's any of like the other ones, or like if there is a tool. I'm not sure right now. Good question.
Thanks.
Thank you. Stefan?
Yeah, I've been in the German translation group for, I think it's 3 years, and I think only in the last couple of days I discovered the following, namely that in contrast to, I think, what most translators do around the world, namely that they take the source for given and then translate it. What we are doing is not just a one-way street kind translation, because the source is under continuous evolution, And SNOMED International, as a provider of the source, is very eager to get also feedback. That means in case where we have discussions how to translate, because the source concept is not very clear, or it has some, let's say, margin for discussion, what it really means, so that there is an additional possible task for translation groups really to do something of terminology auditing. Yeah. So what's your opinion, Frank? How much time translation group should reserve for doing this auditing task? Or do you think that it should not be done, that the source should be just accepted as it is, as given, and the translators make the best out of it?
Yes, thank you for your question. This is a very good question. We are concerned with this very much, and like there's more people coming from German translation group right now. This is really what we're doing. We're always saying a translation project, or what we're doing is also quality improvement. There are so many change requests, and everybody's discussing what this really means. Is this really still used? When was it changed the last time? Is it a concept from 2002 or whenever? And we spent a lot of time doing this, and I think it is important. And what I hear from SNOMED International, it is a valuable, like these translation projects are valuable and are good. They improve the terminology. So yeah, it's a very good question. I think we all should do it, but it takes a lot of time, of course. If we just take it as it is, you would be quicker.
Okay, thank you very much. Frank, thank you very much. We have concluded this section. This is